Hello, Lamer Gamers. This is Simply Travis and
Rowdy 5000
for the Lamer Gamers podcast. And we've recently ran into somewhat of a problem.
Yeah, you could say that again.
I was recently informed by a strange little fairy monster with a lamp attached to his nose that I, Simply Travis, am the pure-hearted one. And apparently am a freaking wizard. While stumbling through my handy-dandy new wizard book, I might have accidentally read something wrong. And I might have turned Rowdy into a honking goose.
Honk.
The only time we have to record this episode is today. Man, I got a ton of papers to grade later. So we might as well get honking through this and get through episode 13 of the Lamer Gamers podcast together. Today,
honk.
Oh, yeah. Le honk. Today, we'll be talking about a ton of games since our most recent 500-year flood, Tropical Storm Imelda, which was rainy.
It was interesting.
There was a lot of water here, man.
Yeah.
It was like a island.
I didn't have to swim.
I almost did. So, yeah, that's what's actually kept us away from here is we had a surprise storm that dropped about 40 inches of rain in our area. Or my area. I don't think y'all got it as bad where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, where I live, it doesn't flood.
Yeah. Had a fancy new lazy river installed in my house.
Nice.
Outside of my house, not in, thankfully. Anyway, then we're going to talk about the Inside Xbox versus State of Play because they both happened at the same day, so we're going to make them fight.
It was weird.
Yeah. After that, we'll talk about the Hori Split Pad Pro. That's hard to say. I'll give you a little review on that and all of the fake news. All right.
So,
what time is it now?
quite a crazy intro, but it's time to cue the music.
All right, guys, so before we get started, I want y'all to check out parallaxmedia.one. They are our new buddies. They are partnering up with us to help spread the word of the Lamer Gamers. So you can check us out now on parallaxmedia.one or our Transistor website or Spotify or Twitter, wherever you want to find us. And the reason why I got with these guys, they're not like a humongous group, but I really like the way they write their website. It reminds me of the old Nintendo64.com days before they were IGN. And those weird things they printed on paper. Crap, what were those things called?
Magazines.
Ah, yeah. So what I remember some magazines, like I would go to Walmart and they had this big shelf of all these magazines, you know, the things printed on paper they don't have anymore. And I would go in and bring like a little notepad because my parents weren't going to buy a magazine.
So you pulled your notepad out of your...
Hey guys, I'm going to come steal all the tips and tricks
Out of
from
your-
Tips and Tricks magazine. Yeah. I'm one of the reasons why they're probably not around anymore.
Pulled your pen out of your pocket protector. Pushed
Hey,
your
guys,
glasses up on your nose.
I need to know the economy code. But yeah, there were some cool ones like Game Informer, Nintendo Power. Man, I miss those things. Anyway, hey Rowdy,
What's up?
what have you been playing lately? What
Look,
haven't
man,
you been playing might be a better question.
I'm going to try and fly through this real quick because I played a lot in this past month. Yeah, a month since we've done one of these podcasts.
Dude, it's been a while.
So let's see. Let's start off with Gears 5. I beat it. It's absolutely awesome.
I have not beat it yet.
I haven't played a Gears since Gears 1. Didn't really like it. Picked it up at 5. It's amazing. Gonna try and go back and play some of them.
I started playing it. Gears 5 is legit, and I'm not the biggest fan of Gears at all.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like running through a room and then the walls have Velcro attached to them and you get stuck to them.
Look, here's the deal. We need to
This one doesn't.
We need to play multiplayer, and you need to play as Jack. It's awesome.
So what does the multiplayer play like in Gears 5? Because the single player is really good. There's this amazing art style to the game. It's fun. The story's decent. What is multiplayer?
Well,
Haven't been there.
I didn't play much of the online multiplayer, but I did play like a bunch of couch co-op for the campaign.
Mhm.
And playing as Jack through the couch co-op is awesome because you know how you have to point the robot in directions.
Yeah, I've been trying to convince my wife to.
You play as the robots, and it's
Ooh.
awesome, man. You fly around and do all this cool stuff. It's pretty awesome, man. But let's see here. Next here, Astral Chain, great concept. Platinum Games is amazing. Had fun for about the first 10 hours I played it. It got so repetitive and annoying though.
Got bored with it.
I got bored with it. Didn't finish it. Daemon X Machina. Let's see. In my notes, I said the jury's still out. I played it a little longer since my notes. Um, it's fun. It's a really good mech game, but super repetitive, and just the dialogue is super annoying.
I got the controller based on Daemon X Machina, but I did not get the game, and I haven't played the demo yet because I've been busy dealing with floods and whatnot and gutting houses.
It's pretty cool, man. You should at least check out the demo. I don't know about buying it, but you should check out the demo.
Yeah, I need to check it out. It looks fun, and I hear you had some had to use gyro controls to play it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. I don't like them. It's actually like one of the first times I've really actually had to use it because I didn't realize.
I love gyro controls. They're amazing.
I didn't realize like how when I play my Switch, like 95% of the time it's docked and I'm using a Pro controller. And you have so much room to move those joysticks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Joy-Cons don't have as much don't have as much move. So I literally had to do precise aiming by moving it. And that just, it messed me up, man. I didn't like it.
See, the way gyro controls are supposed to be is the stick makes the large movements and then you kind of dial it in with the gyro. That doesn't sound right to have to do large sweeping movements.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pain.
So, yeah, it was... I had to use it how you're supposed to, but I still didn't like it.
So this next game I see is PTSD Simulator 2000. Oh, wait, no, what is it called?
Blair Witch.
Why are you calling it PTSD Simulator?
Okay, because look, so the game, I had no idea what to expect when I was going into this. I mean, I saw Blair Witch when I was a freshman, sophomore in high school when it first came out.
Back in the day.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh God, that was like almost 20 years ago.
It's a long time. That was before one of the apocalypses. We've lived through a lot of apocalypses.
Yeah.
The year 2000, the Mayan calendar apocalypse. I'm sure we could just go on and on and on.
So I really didn't know what to expect playing this game. Like I knew it was going to be a jump out and scare you type thing. But your character actually has PTSD. Like he's a soldier from at least one of the Iraqi wars. I don't really know the time frame of this game. So it could be either mid-90s, mid-2000s. It could be either one.
Gotcha.
And he's also an ex-cop. And
dude's had a rough time.
Well, something happened when he was a cop, and he's not a cop anymore.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't tell you anything when you start the game. You find out all of his little quirks and things like that as you're out in the woods searching for stuff. You have a dog that's with you, a German Shepherd named Bullet, who like roams around and he finds stuff for you.
Sounds like Fallout.
Well, if you get too, it's an emotional support dog. So if you get too far away from the dog, you start freaking out. So you have to stay near the dog. So
does not sound like a fun gameplay mechanic at all.
Well, it kind of makes sense once you play it.
I guess.
It's just that there's a turning point in the game where I hated it. Like it was really cool. I like the puzzles and everything, but once it hit that turning point, I was done.
So is it going to ruin the game if we know what that turning point is?
Yes.
Okay, we're not going to talk about the turning point, but you can play it on Game Pass, so go find out. So, what's next?
Oh, man. Okay, Untitled Goose Game.
Honk.
I liked it so much. I made a solo podcast about it. It's 15 minutes of me talking about Untitled Goose Game, and it's also not safe for work.
Yeah, it's just so y'all know, if I'm around, I can't be not safe for work because of my other job. Because this is a side quest from professional life, but professional life does come and find me wherever I'm hiding.
That's true.
Yeah, so I had to be a little bit safer.
But yeah,
but it's a good one. It's fun.
It's amazing.
And the music's good.
You should totally check it out. Enough said about that. Borderlands 3.
Boom.
Next one. Shoot. Boom. I mean, it's a looter shooter. It's the original looter shooter. If you like Borderlands 1 and 2, you're going to like Borderlands 3. It's more of the same stuff. They have some improvements in it. Like now you can slide. I know that sounds not like a big deal, but it really is when you're trying to slide behind cover.
Movement in a first-person shooter or third-person shooter to me is very important. And if you have good movement, I'm usually pretty happy. Now, you know what would make me even happier?
What's that?
Gyro controls.
Man, I hate you sometimes.
I want the gyro controls at Borderlands.
But, I know Gearbox has had a lot of scandals and stuff recently following Borderlands 3, but you should play it. It's really good.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, just ignore everything from Randy Pitchford, the guys at Gearbox really are good people, and they put out great games.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I do have a question.
What's that?
I've heard that the story is meh.
So the jokes are very meme oriented.
It's like YouTubers, basically.
Yeah, no, like
Yeah,
the main
yeah.
enemies are basically YouTubers. Like they're poking fun at streamers and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So it's very, I guess, tongue in cheek. Like they're trying to make fun of
It's
what's going on
satirizing
now.
what's going on today.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
it didn't annoy me, but it has annoyed some people.
Yeah.
Um,
Probably YouTubers. 'Cause it's making fun of them. And
Well, I
that's
mean,
generally who's going to talk about this
but
game.
I mean, it does make fun of YouTubers and streamers and stuff. But
As long as it doesn't make fun of podcasters, we're good.
I mean, well, I haven't seen anything yet, but
Yeah. That's cool.
What's
We're good
next
with
on my list? Link's Awakening.
it. Ooh.
It's an oldie, but a frustrating goodie.
Ooh. Okay.
So here's the thing.
Does it play like the OG Link?
Okay, so the OG one, I only played for maybe 10, 15 minutes at a time, never beat it.
Oh, I did.
But an annoying part about the first one is you had 2 buttons and you had to assign your sword and your shield to those. And if you ever wanted to use anything else, you had to stop, assign it to one of the buttons, and then go again. This one, they've got a lot of quality of life improvements. You have a constant button for your sword and your shield. Oh, and running. Wait. Yes, a constant button for running. So then you have 2, your X and your Y button, you could assign different stuff. So that's really awesome. I found the blur on the edge of the screens really annoying. And it slows down a lot.
Blur on the
Yes,
edge of the
so-
screens? Why is it?
Okay.
Because it's all
So, well, when the old game...
breaking. I'll ruin the game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But like the old game, it moves square by square. So it's basically
Okay,
like
so
them
they-
like...
you don't want to see the edges.
Yeah,
and
so
it's
you
supposed to be
can't see
square
the
format.
edges.
So
So
it'd still annoy me
it's
though.
very in focus in the middle and then blurry around the edges.
I feel like I
and-
need to spoiler this game that's been out forever. I'm not going to.
Well, it's super annoying, man, because I thought back to it and I could not have beaten this game on the Game Boy because there's no internet. And I
Back
normally...
then you needed to know things. You had to call Nintendo's tip line. You remember that stuff?
Dude, and they charged you like $1 a minute.
Yeah. That was a good
Ugh.
racket.
But no, man. So there are parts of the game where I would get so frustrated, and I didn't want to use the internet. I didn't want to use a walkthrough. So finally, one of my coworkers was like, "Rowdy, you have to do it. Like, you keep coming to work,
Give in.
and you keep telling me that you're at the same spots over and over again. Just use the walkthrough I sent you." So I finally opened the walkthrough he sent me, and there was stuff that I never would have figured out ever had it not been for the internet.
That's how RPGs used to be back in the day, though, man. You had to know very specific things.
And that's why Rowdy was not a fan of RPGs until the internet.
Yeah, I was too dumb as an elementary kid,
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 year old, and I just like fighting dragons. And so I probably played the next game that you're talking about, but the first one, Dragon Quest OG or Dragon Warrior.
Yeah,
know,
man, it's really weird the way they
just
numbered
hit
up. But it's Square Enix, man. They do all weird
Squeenix
stuff.
doesn't know what
with-
they're doing.
I mean,
they're not as bad as Capcom though.
God, that's true.
Capcom cannot count.
I think that somebody at Square Enix writes a story and then sends it up to the higher ups, and they're like, "Okay, I like this. You can make it a Final Fantasy game, or you can make it a Dragon Quest game, and then you just have to adopt the lore from those
Call the
games
guy
to
that
it."
drew Dragon Ball. We'll get him in
yeah.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one thing that kind of drives me a little crazy about Dragon Quest games.
I mean, there are characters that look like Trunks and Bulma.
Well, that's how that. I wish I had the artist's name in my head right now, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
almost
him.
like a character generator at this point.
Yeah.
They all there's this very specific style with his character, and that actually is one of the things that made me choose the game that I chose. I'll talk about later.
Well,
instead of Dragon Quest.
since I wrote my notes, I started Dragon Quest 11 and I absolutely love it.
It's
I
good.
see that I did redo my notes and I forgot about that.
Uh-oh.
So, no, Dragon Quest 11, I started, I'm about 7 hours in and I absolutely love it. It's amazing. I told myself I wasn't going to play very far in the demo because I didn't want to spoil anything.
Right.
It's amazing. I didn't even pick up from where the demo was. I started again at the beginning. But word of advice, if you try and play the game in 2D, you will get frustrated like I did. Because I
Good to know.
beat the original part of the game where you climb the tour and you do all that junk. And then I saved, and then I decided to replay that part in 2D. So you save your game, you start in 2D, and everything carries over from 3D to 2D. So then I just replayed that part in 2D, and it was really awesome. So then I tried to switch back to 3D, and I had to play the original part again.
Wait.
From the beginning of the game.
No.
Because of where I saved it. I had not beaten that part of the game. Therefore, I had to start at the beginning of it again. So if you want to play in 2D, I suggest completely beating the game first.
Gotcha.
Because once you beat a section of the game, then you can go back. You could save right there, then go back and play it in 2D up until that point.
That makes sense.
Super annoying, man. About an hour and a half of the game was just me beating the first part of the game 3 times.
So I'm still really excited about it. I know I just dogged on the art style a little bit, but honestly, the demo was excellent. I know we talked about that a couple episodes ago.
Super fun. Man. You should totally play it.
And did the battle music ever start annoying you though?
I keep switching back and forth between the synthesized version and the symphonic version,
Mm-hmm.
and the Dragon Quest 8 version and Dragon Quest 11 version.
You can switch that many music thingies?
Yeah, you got to earn it.
Wow.
But you earn it pretty quick.
Nifty. I like that.
So that was pretty awesome. But let's see. Moving on. So real quick, I have to do a disclaimer right here. I drink the apple Kool-Aid. I love it.
I don't.
It tastes great.
Tastes like pickles.
But when they announced Apple Arcade, I was like, it's going to be dumb. I mean, I already subscribe to enough stuff right now. So it's $5 a month, and you get your first month free. So I figured, what have I got to lose? I'll try it out. So I could download all these games onto my phone, my iPad, my Apple TV, my Mac. I told you, I drink the Kool-Aid.
There's a lot of Kool-Aid there. I bet that Kool-Aid's expensive.
So my Apple, I bought the Apple TV 4K.
It's got gold flakes in it or something.
And I can now link, since the newest update, I can now link a PS4 controller or an Xbox One controller. And the cool thing is, when you play these games, instead of saying like, push the A button, but you're playing on a PlayStation controller, so you have to hit the X button, it doesn't do that. It does it like a Switch game, where it has the top button or the bottom button. It just shows the thing, and then it's darkened on the one that you have to hit. So some of the games I played on there, Shantae and the Seven Sirens, I love the Shantae series. It is one of the best platformers out there. So they have Shantae and the Seven Sirens. Well, right now it's just part 1. Part 2 is coming in an update where it'll be a whole game, but it's a free update. By the way, I haven't paid for any of these games so far.
Nice.
It's
well,
all
I mean,
been
you paid
technically
for the...
free. So no, I'm still in my first free month, and I've played them on all of my devices. I could link controllers to my iPhone, my iPad, everything. It's cool, man.
This is how they get you started. I mean,
it's true.
There's PSAs about people getting you caught on things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's true.
Trying to introduce this is how Apple gets you, man.
But just a quick fire through some of these. If you liked Enter the Gungeon, they have one called Exit the Gungeon. It's really fun. Spaceland is this cool isometric RPG type game, but it's turn-based, but it actually moves quick.
Is Exit the Gungeon like a knockoff? Or is it by the same company?
Oh, it's the same company.
Okay, I was just making sure it wasn't like some sort of Russian or Chinese knockoff game,
No.
because that would be amazing.
It's made by the same people who did Enter the Gungeon. It's a Devolver game, but instead of being a 3D movement, it's a side scroller.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
So it's the Explodins. That's a weird Explodin. It's like
Does that have cats involved
exploding
in it?
kittens. But
they have an exploding kittens game. It's a card game, isn't it?
Oh yeah, no, I've played it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But no, this game
played it
you
at your
play
house
as
once.
a cat who's a fighter pilot. And it's like a twin stick shooter.
To do. Yeah.
It's a twin stick shooter. It's really fun. And then I also played Rayman Mini, which kind of annoyed me because it's just a runner. I thought it was going to be a platformer. No, it's a runner. It's like one button to jump, and like that's it.
That sounds terrible.
Was kind of disappointed in that. But honestly, you should try. If you drink the apple Kool-Aid like me, you should get that first month for free and try it out. It's surprisingly good.
Have you tried? So my Android phone recently was like, you should sign up for this $1.99 gameplay pass thing. Have you looked at that any?
Okay, so I have looked into that. It would be a good deal, but I don't like the payment or how they pay the developers, because with things like Game Pass and PS Now, Apple Arcade, they pay the developers a set price to be on there, whereas the Google one right now is a pay by the play, almost Spotify type deal. So if you're a game developer and you put your game on the Google store for this, you're only going to get paid by the play. So if you put it on there and it doesn't get played, I mean, you're not going to make money. I mean, you probably weren't going to make money anyways, because people were going to have to buy it. But you're not going to get paid.
It's interesting to see them starting to go to this model for mobile games, because in a way I do feel like, mobile games I just don't trust. I have this massive distrust of mobile games, and I know the one you're about to talk about is not going to help my trust issues. No. But it almost feels more fair if I'm paying a subscription base and then I get to play these games for free. Or in those games, are they still going to like try to turn me into the quote unquote well, where I still had to buy all the coins and all this other
so
junk?
Far, all premium currency and DLC for these games is included in the subscription.
So they just give you a bunch of currency just so you can play with?
I haven't played any game that needs currency though. So it's not a bunch of like pick 3 type games. Like it's not like your Candy Crush. There's a lot of platformers on here. I don't know if you ever played Oceanhorn or seen anything about Oceanhorn, but that was
rip-off Zelda?
Yeah, that was the Zelda rip-off. It's actually sold very well on the Switch.
I just don't like it. I played a little bit on the PC and I was just like, eh.
So I downloaded Oceanhorn 2 on this. I haven't played it yet, but it is a phenomenal looking game, and it is like,
looks good.
It's a 3D movement. You actually have a camera that you need to move around. So I haven't seen any, like, besides Rayman Mini, I haven't seen any games that were your typical cell phone type game. These feel like games that should be indie Switch games.
Gotcha.
I've had to use a controller with all of them, and the only one that the controller didn't really work good on was Exit the Gungeon, but everything else worked great. Now they have said that DLC is going to be included, and I have heard them talking about if a game comes out with a premium currency, that X amount of premium currency will be included. I don't know 100% about that though. That was just what was possibly going to happen when it came out. So now going into the next mobile game I played.
Trust issues.
Mario Kart Tour. I love Mario Kart.
I haven't even downloaded it.
I
don't want to.
I mean, it's like it instantly tries to get you to pay.
I don't want to feel that hate for Nintendo. I want to think they're still good inside this world.
Well,
and someone at Nintendo is still good.
I want to play devil's advocate here. I guess it's not really devil's advocate because I'm such a huge Nintendo fan. It's not Nintendo that's pushing. For all, because they pay companies to port all this stuff and make.
Right. They're licensing the Nintendo.
And they want to make their money. So, I mean, sure, Nintendo is going to get a crap ton of money out of this.
And I know there's a part of me that's like, you had to be a realist and realize that's the only way people make money on mobile games.
It's true. I mean, they nickel and dime you in microtransactions these days. But the most annoying part of Mario Kart Tour is if you're a hardcore Mario Kart player and you like to play 200 cc's, in this version, you have to pay $5 a month.
No.
Yeah.
No.
1 year of Mario Kart Tour 200 cc's cost more than a Nintendo Switch Online subscription.
I wish I downloaded it just to uninstall it. I might do that later just out of spite.
Yeah. No, I mean, I installed it pretty quick.
That's insane.
I was very disappointed. And then you could pay upwards, with one click, you could pay $70 in Mario Kart Tour for premium currency.
Why Nintendo?
Yeah,
why
it's bad.
Company channeling the Nintendo power?
I mean, it's just bad. But Mario Kart is one of their highest selling games, and it will pull in some people. I mean, I can see why they did it. It's just not for me.
I gotta say, I think Mario Kart series is definitely the series that causes the most pain to everybody.
And divorces.
I mean, we've all played Mario Kart and been in first place and got hit with that blue shell.
Oh, God. I have nightmares about that sound.
I couldn't imagine paying $70 a click for that torture. Yes. Some sadist like this game.
So, Travis.
I played like a couple games. I played Gears 5.
Amazing.
Yeah, Gears
Great
5
game.
is great. It looks great on HDR, and I have a curved display, and I did have a couple instances of simulator sickness.
Okay.
So simulator sickness is something that I've actually only recently found out about. It's basically when you get sick in VR.
That's why I don't like curved screens.
Yeah, because it's if you sit in the right spot, it's almost like a VR experience. And it's 60 frames a second. So just kind of go into the graphics on it. You know, it's 4K, 60 frames a second, and it makes it very realistic whenever you have a curved screen. You're just in that right spot. So I don't know. It's definitely one of the better. It's the only Gears that I've actually sat through more than a couple hours, honestly. The story is decent. Everybody looks like they came out of like a. I'm gonna get a little art nerdy for a second, like a
Those Marvel
Michelangelo or No, that one artist, Rob Liefeld, that I can't stand his artwork, and everybody's gigantic and big and fat, and they have these super muscles everywhere, and they don't make any sense anatomically. They kind of look like that. They're just like meaty. And even the dude that's like the doctor in there, I mean, he looks like freaking Goldberg.
Well, no, he's actually he was a soldier in some of the old games.
I guess that makes sense.
Like, what's funny is like Marcus Phoenix and like the Doctor Baird. Those dudes are old in this game. When the first Gears of War game started, you play as Marcus Phoenix, and his son hadn't even been thought of at the time. In this game, his son is mid to late 20s, maybe early 30s.
I don't know anything about the universe,
dude,
honestly.
Those dudes are old now.
And the story is passable, but I don't know anything about what's going on. Yeah, they can't. Rowdy's just got his arms out to the side. He can't move him. Looks like Popeye walking around. But yeah, the art style is interesting to me. They do some amazing work on the backdrops in the game, though. Some people are complaining, well, the foliage doesn't move when you walk through it in some section.
Get out
I don't care. The colors are freaking brilliant. Get over it.
Good.
The explosions, and dude, Dolby Atmos enabled. It's my first game to play with Dolby Atmos. Holy freaking cow, dude. It's so boomy. Everything shakes and it's spectacular. So I've been pretty excited because y'all know about my trials and tribulations with my Onkyo AV receiver from a couple episodes back, and so I'm so happy to be able to get to use it the way it's supposed to be used. All right, next up, let's go ahead and go smaller screens. Ni no Kuni.
I've been meaning to play this game for years, and I just haven't gotten around to it.
And I keep forgetting what the heck this Wrath of the something witch. White witch? Black witch?
Wrath of the something witch.
Yeah, we're going to say ambidextrous witch. I don't know. It's one of those games. It's the only one that you can find on the Switch, and I'm freaking out about it. I really enjoy the game. It has, it's made by the people that, well, the art style is helped by Studio Ghibli, and if you know who they are, Princess Mononoke, Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind, all the good stuff with Totoro, something or other. Somebody's angry at me right now because I don't remember things because I got the brain of a goldfish some days. But it's so good looking. And, you know, what happened was I strolled on up to Walmart. And by the way, our Walmarts in this area, and I'm finding out online that nobody's Walmarts understands how to stock video games. Because in my Walmart, there are literally like 5 rows for Xbox One. There's 2 for PlayStation 4 and 2 for Nintendo Switch. I don't know who in the world is buying all the Xbox One games at Walmart, but apparently they think they're going to sell. And with Game Pass, I don't see people buying those games much anyway nowadays. So what happened was I was going to go get Dragon Quest, and I was like texting Rowdy. We were out eating some Tex-Mex at El Burro, which is also known as Senor Toro.
I love El Burro.
Oh, El Burro is great. But I was texting him. I was like, dude, I'm thinking about this. And Rowdy's like, look what I got. And he showed me the Dragon Quest picture. So I was going to go get Dragon Quest, and they were sold out because, you know.
Because you didn't order it online.
Well, I wasn't expecting Bertha, who's 80 years old, working in the Walmart section, that still calls all video game systems Nintendos.
She probably still orders VHS movies.
She probably does. I'm surprised there aren't VHS movies at my Walmart.
Yeah.
It's a brand new super Walmart, and they're still selling stuff that shouldn't be there. Anyway, so I go there, and it's sold out, and there is 1 copy of Ni no Kuni.
That's weird.
That's okay. I'm okay with this because I've enjoyed the heck out of the game. Now, it's a PlayStation 3 game originally, and they've re-released it on the Switch. It looks great. You can tell that it's been like what's the word? The resolution has been enhanced.
It's been
essentially.
up-resed.
It's being up-resed. Why I did that voice? Who knows? But it's really fun. It's very story-driven. If you like games that are, or if you like any of the Princess Mononoke movie or any Ghibli films, you'll love the story behind it. Miyazaki! Yeah, that dude's cool. So if you like any of their work, it's great stuff. Now, the gameplay plays like a regular RPG, but you run around and you control little minions. Rowdy is one of my minions right now, or they're called familiars, the technical wizard term.
Dang right.
And he's this little dude. I had to name Rowdy 5000. He just runs around and smacks things with the sword. It's great. But what's really cool is it feels like you're becoming this wizard, and they have this really cool wizard book. And you're going through trying to collect spells and all this stuff to go beat this bad guy. And the story's, fun little wizard story. The animations are great. It's written. It's fun. But I've used it as like my chill game until I reached the Temple of Trials. So, little thing that Rowdy doesn't know is he's got to help me with the friendship trial, because what you have to do, you have two characters, because you finally get another character in this game to help you out.
Yeah.
So, but because you had to be friends, I guess, and friends have to control one freaking controller, the friend on the left controls the left stick. The friend on the right controls the right stick.
That's
and
weird.
You have to run through this thing and like through this course, and it's constantly collapsing as you're running through it. And I can't do it on my own. I need a friend.
Sounds like Astral Chain. Controlling two things at one time. It's awful.
Dude, I can't do it. I literally told my wife, like, I'm going to go play Ni no Kuni because I need a chill game today. And then I wanted to bite my controller. So
it happens.
Rowdy doesn't know. He's helping me out with that later.
I mean, I do know now.
Yeah, now you do. Hey, so I handed you a controller thing earlier. What did you think about it?
Okay, so this thing is gigantic, and when I picked it up, I thought that it was going to drop me to the ground with the weight. It does not add extra weight to your Switch when connected to it.
So what are we talking about? The Hori Split Pad Pro.
I mean,
I said it right that time.
This thing looks like it could control jets and helicopters and stuff. Like,
I mean,
it's crazy looking.
It's Daemon X Machina theme, and it's basically like Mega Joy-Con. And man, I'm going to put it this way. It looks terrible. Feels great. It's utilitarian. Like if there's one word, it's utilitarian that you're looking for. It has a purpose. It is ugly as sin, though, whenever you have it on the Switch. It does not look right. It's super light, which is fine because the weight of the Switch helps. It does feel like I could probably hit somebody with it and hurt them a little bit.
I bet it would be funny looking when you put it in the dock with those on there.
You can't. It doesn't fit. There's like, okay, so if you look at the back, there's these little things that stick out. I've seen people on YouTube, they're like, I don't know why they're there. Why are these things sticking out the back? Well, they just keep it elevated.
Well, that's quite annoying.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put it in the dock. It's passively charged, so you can't play with them on your own, which might actually not be that bad now that I'm holding it without a Switch. But it's red and black themed. You can assign an extra button to it. Like there's these little toggles on the back.
And turbo.
And there's turbo if you want something that reminds you of the 90s. You can assign a random button to those little toggles on the back. It feels good. The face buttons feel great. But the plus and minus and home buttons feel like they should have been on some weird, like, cheap rubber knockoff, like, product you get at Walmart for $2. So it's a good controller. I would highly suggest it if you have if your hands hurt, if you're getting old and getting them arthritises. Honestly, you probably should get it too if you're young. I hate to tell you youngins, but your hands and stuff are going to hurt the more you use those stupid Joy-Cons because they're too little. Unless you got these little baby hands. I
don't have baby hands.
No, if you got, if you're past the age of like 15, don't use those Joy-Cons. They're going to mess your hands up over time. You're just going to be like permanently throwing up gang signs. Your hands are going to look so gnarled. Anyway, so highly suggest it. Bad things about this controller though. No no gyro. I
There's
hate
no
it.
weight to them either.
There's no weight to them. They're magic. There's no gyro to it. There's no rumble in these controllers, so you'll save a little bit of battery life, but you can't play Splatoon with them on the go, which is kind of lame for me. And Daemon X Machina, Rowdy was saying you really need the gyro controls. Well, how the heck am I going to play Daemon X Machina with these Daemon X Machina themed controllers if I can't use gyro controls?
So one thing I do have to point out about these controllers, though, is the joysticks.
They feel good.
They feel great.
They feel better than Nintendo's.
I mean, it's definitely closer to a Pro controller.
Yeah.
Than the Joy-Con.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Playing with these, like, I don't think I would need gyro because of how well you can move these joysticks.
And I gotta agree. I think if you're in the market for something and you like take road trips or you're on a bus or you're traveling, because I know like people talk to me, it's like, oh yeah, this is a good podcast for the commute when they talk about ours. So if you're like commuting and playing video games, great little controller, but it's gonna look ugly as sin and it might not fit in your bag unless you have like a messenger bag or a purse or something.
And people are gonna make fun of you.
No, they won't. They'll be like, oh, what's that? It's this ugly Hori controller, but it's great. So, all right. Oh, and last little thing. I do wish they would have used a different texture on it. It's this hard, like I said, cheap plastic.
Yeah.
I wish it was like a softer rubber or something on the outside, because as you're holding it, it does kind of push into the top of your palm a little bit. It gets a little, not really painful, but it's definitely like I guess you'd call it a heat spot after a while.
Yeah.
Still though, compared to a Joy-Con, throw your Joy-Cons in the trash compared to this thing.
I mean, I wouldn't. They're expensive.
Yeah, they are too expensive, but their control sticks probably don't work. All right, guys. Do you have anything else for games that we played recently?
No, man, that's it.
All right, I think it is time for news and views.
All right, so part of the news section here, we're gonna start off with Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It's yeah, I've always kind of
not a fan,
really been a fan of them, but this one this news story kind of has some traction because PS4 gets a 1-year exclusive on the Spec Ops Survival mode. Now, to me, that doesn't sound like that big a deal.
But it doesn't sound fun.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, if you think about it, there's no point in even putting it on the other consoles now because they just put out a new game every year.
That is true. It's almost like an NFL game at this point or a Madden.
Yeah. So, I mean, until October 2nd, I think next year, PS4 has this Spec Ops Survival mode. So obviously fans are
fighting dirty.
Well, yeah. So obviously fans are upset. Duh. And no use in putting it in. Let's see. So, I feel that Microsoft or Steam or Epic or anybody, like if they would have been offered the deal, would have taken it. I don't know exactly how the deal works. I'm sure Sony maybe shelled out a ton of money to get this exclusive or whatnot, but I really feel that, I mean, this is kind of a big deal. I mean, if you look at the sales, these games sell quite a bit compared to some of the other games. I mean, you look at like the NBA 2K games, like those will sell more than like God of War sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, these they're almost episodic games, you know.
Yeah,
I think it's just crazy. So, also, you were telling me the other day that Destiny 2 had a server snafu.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal: anytime a AAA multiplayer game comes out or has any kind of DLC update, anything like that, they're going to have server problems. It happens. Okay. These companies, they aren't going to spend a whole lot of money to rent server space because nobody's going to say, oh, hey, you could rent 3 days of extra server space. No, you're going to have to pay a good bit for that stuff. Yeah. And when you have a player base that drops off by probably half or more within a week, there's no point in paying all that extra money. So there's
not a lot of people that really run these servers. I mean, we're talking Google, Amazon, and Microsoft are really the 3 big ones that run these giant server farms.
Exactly. So, I mean, there's really no point in doing it. So don't get upset if you get a AAA game and want to play the multiplayer on the first day. It's probably not going to happen.
Not nowadays. They don't really like to release games with good testing on them. I mean, actually, I got to say, though, my buddies at Nintendo, they were really good about things like Splatoon. They do test fires, and they do all these server like tests to see how it's going to go, and they let everybody come in for free and play for a little bit. Yeah, maybe they should have done. Did they do a beta or something like this for?
I mean, I'm sure they did, but I mean,
yeah,
who knows how big of a scale it was?
That is true. So, I always look at those. I guess look at those games a couple days later to really determine if they're junk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So next thing on the docket, PS Now. We're gonna talk about this again. So
What?
we've been big fans of Game Pass here.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I actually bought an Xbox One S on Amazon Prime Day for dirt cheap, just so that I could use Game Pass. Well, now PlayStation Now is starting to fire back. So up until now, it was just a streaming service. I didn't know you couldn't download games, or maybe there was only select ones you could download.
So the games were streamed?
Yes, did not know that.
That sounds terrible.
So now, I compared a lot of the games. So PS Now definitely has more games, over 800 games. But if you look at a lot of the games that Xbox has compared to PlayStation, a lot of the same companies are on there. So all the Bethesda games that are on Xbox Game Pass, they're also on PS Now. I saw like a lot of indies too, like the Mud Runners game was on both of them. What else?
I know we talked about a lot of those games a while back.
It's so many of them are on both of them. So if you have one console and not the other, the main thing is going to be, do they have exclusives? So here's what sets Game Pass and PlayStation Now apart. On Game Pass, all of the Microsoft exclusives, no matter what the company is, it's going to be on Game Pass.
Oh yeah, Outer Worlds.
So
yeah,
PS Now does not have all the exclusives on there because they're still selling well. So
and really, I mean, that makes sense for Sony's location right now in the sales world, because they can actually make money off their games, whereas Xbox isn't really doing well in sales.
Yeah, they don't have the console numbers.
Right, and Xbox is just trying to get people to play their dang system, and
it's
what
kind of
it
working,
worked for
man.
me
It got
for Game
me.
Pass.
I mean, I drink Sony Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
but it got me into the Microsoft biome.
We still need to determine what the flavors of these Kool-Aids are in the future.
Maybe
That
that'll
is definitely
be-
going to be on a side quest.
It's probably something we're going to do in the future because I love Kool-Aid too. That's why I
love
say
me
I
some
always drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
But a cool thing that they're doing, well, I don't know how cool it is. You might not think it's cool, but PS Now has they call it marquee games. This basically their timed exclusives. So right now you can get Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS Now until January 2nd. Not that, I mean, everybody that wanted to play it has.
Who
played
hasn't
it.
played Grand Theft Auto 5 that wants to play it, other than,
But
5-year-olds?
also right now, where did I put the exclusive? You also have God of War, the 2018 version, Infamous Second Son, which is a great game as well, and Uncharted 4. These are their marquee games that are only going to be available till January the 2nd.
So they're letting you know how long it's going to be on there, and that, I know this was a big thing when I was going to buy a PlayStation 4, and then I made a heel turn. I don't know if I want to use wrestling terms. And I went to the Xbox because the Game Pass was so much of a better deal. If they would have had this around whenever I was looking at a PlayStation 4 Pro or whatever they call it, the fancier one.
PS4 Pro.
Yeah, whatever. I might have actually picked it up because that's a huge selling point as an end of lifestyle like console buyer.
So here's another thing, the price. So they knocked it down to half price, so it's $9.99 now.
What? That's
but
not bad.
you can get a full year, $60
for the PlayStation Now.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because I know we're going to talk more about this later. There's some rumors coming around that PlayStation might not be on top of the world like everybody thinks.
Yeah, that's going to be in our rumor section.
That's coming up later. Well, we might have to mention that again later.
But so another thing about this though,
it's just funny that they'd start doing that to compete against Game Pass.
It's true.
And Nintendo's back in the game too, if you think about it, because that Super Nintendo Online stuff is big.
But it's not all their current stuff.
True, but people are just like, they want that classic.
People always want nostalgia.
Yeah.
But another key thing that I want to point out for the Game Pass is there are was it 300 400 over 300 PS4 games that you could download to the hard drive. But I want to say it's PS2 games and most PS3 games are streaming.
So okay, so you have PS now, right?
I don't.
Okay, because I'm curious, because you didn't know that they were streamed. I'm curious how it looks and how it plays and what's the lag and all that stuff, because that's a big thing coming up, is that streaming capability in the next generation. And I know we're going to be talking more about that in the future, especially. I wonder if this is like that's their little test to figure out for the future how they're going to deal with streaming, or if it's just really not working. That's why they're having to do the downloaded games.
Yeah,
that's
so
something to think about.
One thing I don't know how it worked beforehand. I don't know if there was only select games that you could download, but this is what I've read now. Mm-hmm. So what I'll do is probably on the next week that I have off, I may try the trial, but you only get a 7-day trial.
Okay.
For PS Now. So I'm probably going to wait till my next week off before I try it out, because I don't think it's something I'm going to buy into, because I already have all of the exclusives that I wanted. I bought those.
I mean, if you've had the PlayStation forever, what's the point of this service?
I mean, it'd be cool to play some of the PS3 and PS2 games, because they'll get you in with the original Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. Mm-hmm. Undead Nightmare was the most amazing DLC I've ever played for a game. So I may try that out the next week that I have off.
Nice.
But let's see. What do we got next, man?
All right. Before we move on, I wanted to give some shout outs to all of our friends that we have accrued over, I mean, even since the last month. But we got a lot of friends that share our podcast. We kind of share theirs. They're good guys. Indie Incursion is one of our new friends that's also with Parallax Media. But more locally, A to Z Podcast out here in Beaumont, Texas, Didgeridoo Dave's Eclectic Music Hour, and our friends over at The Total Set, which I actually just sent it. The Total Set is a podcast that talks about TVs and movies and all that stuff. They wanted suggested episodes of things to watch, so I sent them a Scrubs episode. But it's like the most depressing freaking episode in the world. So I did that because I wanted them to see, like, even I think that comedies can get way more dramatic in a way.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's that contrast between, like, this happy comedy to just super depressing. So I sent them a sad episode. Anyway, just want to give a shout out to those folks with the other podcasts, because they're helping us out. We're, helping them out. It's nice to see some friends out there when everybody's trying to fight to get noticed. All right, time for the next thing. Time for Inside Xbox versus PlayStation's. Wait, Sony State of Play.
Yeah, Sony State of Play.
I think you have another name for Sony State of Play.
I'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. So you didn't watch Inside Xbox, did you?
No.
All right, so I want to give everybody a pro tip. Watch it on Mixer whenever you watch this. So I actually had the YouTube stream up, and I had Mixer. The quality difference was ridiculous, because if they're using it on Mixer, which is Microsoft's special little, service that they do now for streaming.
So funny.
It is way clearer. And you can compare it to Twitch and all the other ones, and it looks ridiculous. I mean, they're not having to shoot it over to another place.
Yeah.
Also, I'm wondering if this is part of them showing off their Azure server farms and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, the difference was like HD and like 480p difference, Almost felt like I had to go and mess with the little bunny ear antennas watching the YouTube stream. Nobody remembers that.
Wrapping some tinfoil around it.
Yeah, man. All right, so I kind of wrote my notes backwards for this. So I'm going to start at the bottom and move on up. So the first thing they showed was another freaking pirate game. Atlas. Atlas it actually looks interesting. It's by the guys that did Ark Survival, which I really haven't played.
Ark is fun, man. I think you would enjoy it. But my problem with Atlas that I've seen so far, it looks awesome. Mm-hmm. But my problem with Atlas is that it looks too much like Ark right now.
And yeah, I think that's one of the things too that they were talking about. they're selling it as like an official MMO with quests and the like. Uh, and they ask, what actually makes Atlas different? So this is what they said. It's an MMO connecting thousands simultaneously, which sounds like an MMO, honestly. Didn't sound like anything different. The worlds are persistent, so that means what happens over on somebody else's game is affecting your game. They said it's a giant sandbox and you can do whatever you want. Specifically, you can terrorize the seas, claim an island. The world is your oyster. You can also eat limes.
Yeah, you don't want to get scurvy.
Yeah, you don't want scurvy, kids. Scurvy's bad for you. It's a deficiency of vitamin C, and it makes you sick and get gangrene and stuff, right?
I
think
I
it
don't
does.
know, man. Like that's not something
Bad for your health.
You don't
You
normally
need vitamin
see
C. Eat oranges and lemons and limes.
You don't normally see scurvy these days.
Yeah. Actually, they did say, I saw an article the other day, said that there is a resurgence in scurvy right now.
Wow.
Too many people eating just like fast foods and stuff.
Dude, in my 15 years in the medical field, I've never seen scurvy.
Yeah. Just get ready. Now, this is probably clickbait BuzzFeed or something somewhere. All right. But anyway, so you can get scurvy in Atlas. Fun. All right. Next game. Did you have anything you wanted to say about Atlas?
I mean,
I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think it's on Game Pass.
you could get worse in Fable years ago.
You can get what?
You can get worse than scurvy in Fable years ago.
Yeah. All right. Next one up looked interesting. Children of Morta. It's a roguelike RPG where you play as a whole family of heroes in a procedurally generated dungeon. It's just like, I'm sorry, I'm about to just throw out keywords everywhere on a lot of these games. It's an action adventure hack and slash.
That sounds almost like Rogue Legacy.
It kind of sounds like the show Supernatural, but during the medieval times. Because you're just the family. And my favorite thing about Supernatural, and I hope they put this in the show, they always say, I did what I had to do. Have you ever seen like GIFs of that?
No.
They constantly say it during Supernatural. If you ever watch it, you'll at least 10 times a season. I did what I had to do. And then like some demons happen or something. Anyway, so it is 2-player co-op on couch right now, but it will have online in the future. Ooh, it looks good. I mean, it looks like your tradition. It looks like an indie game. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It like indie bit, I guess, 8-bit style or 16-bit style games. Looks more 16-bit. That's what it looks like. Also, they talked about ID at Xbox Game Pass. They have some new ones: Genesis Noir, Lonely Mountains Downhill, Demon's Tilt. Nothing particularly spectacular that I really remember, but they're there. All right, Rowdy. Next one is keyword time.
Okay.
All right, so every time we're going to play a game. I feel like we need theme music. All right. Every time you hear a keyword that is used, we need a ding. This game is a post-apocalyptic, dystopian, Souls-like, where you fight vampires over dwindling blood supplies. Yeah, so that was a lot of dings there, right?
Ding.
Okay, we can stop.
Oh, my bad.
Chill.
My bad.
Stop the dings. Honk. Okay. All right, so it looks like a Soulsborne-esque game.
Ding. Sorry.
Dang it, Rowdy. And there was a lot of fire in this game. I mean, they just love fire in this game.
Yeah, I've seen some previews for this. I considered getting it on PS4 until I heard it's Soulsborne-esque.
There's just so many of these games nowadays. I just don't care anymore.
People know my feelings on Soulsborne games.
Sekiro, man.
Sekiro ruined me. I'm done.
Sekiro broke your spirit.
I mean, I understand. Like, the game looked great and it plays great and people love it. It's not for me.
And honestly, here's the thing. Sorry, we're both working stressful jobs. We need games that aren't going to make us want to punch things.
True.
Very true. All right, next up, they talk more about Gears 5. There's more content, 4 new characters, new versus maps, new modes, over 400 customization items. What do you use the customization items for? I have no clue.
I don't know, man. I've played multiplayer and I don't know what the customization's for.
But there's 400 of them. Also, did you know if you buy a special Gears 5 Rockstar drink, you will get 7 days of Game Pass?
That's actually kind of cool, man. Like, I don't drink Rockstar or anything like that, and I think energy drinks are dumb, but
here's my concern. Now I'm going to have a bunch of over-caffeinated 9-year-olds saying terrible things about my mother while playing Gears 5 for free.
that is true.
B, somebody's going to like get a whole year of these and just drink them all at once and die, and they're going to get sued.
I would like to point out that when Travis said B, he held up 2 fingers.
That is true. B is
So
the
he
second
said-
letter.
So he said B,
Alpha, beta.
but he showed a 2.
Uno, dos. All right. Next up, Tropico 6. You can be a dictator for the 6th time.
I've gotten a lot of these games on Steam because of like Humble Bundle and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And have I ever played them? No.
I'm kind of in the same place. And I like strategy games and stuff. I just never really wanted to play it. I guess somebody needs to tell me that I need to play Tropico. Next game, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. They just gave me a bunch of things to talk about. There's 6 provinces, 5 story missions. I think I have this wrong. Aurora missions. I think that's the wrong word. Daily faction missions, drone areas, and player versus player, which is apparently the first time they're doing that in Ghost Recon.
Weird.
Sure. All right, next up, Hitman 2, the final expansion.
Have you played the new Hitmans?
I don't really play Hitman games. What do you think about Hitman games?
I really enjoy the Hitman games, but they kind of got off track until they rebooted the series, until they started over with the Capcom numbering system. Because they had Hitman 1, they had Hitman 2, then there was like Contracts and Blood Money, Absolution. And it got real weird. So then they just started over with Hitman.
Huh.
And when they started over with Hitman, it was good because to me, Blood Money was the best one. Absolution, it just started going downhill, wasn't that good. So then when they restarted it with Hitman, it got pretty good. I haven't played 2 yet, but we'll see.
As an outside viewer, it looks to me like it's just some dude that had a really hard like midlife crisis and became a hitman. That's what it kind of reminds me of. I don't know what it plays like.
He was groomed from a child. They're all clones. All the hitmen,
Oh snap!
they're clones.
That's what the little thingies on the back
Yeah,
of their
that's
heads
what
are
they
for,
have the
UPC codes.
Yeah.
Oh, you can scan them at the grocery store.
Oh, it's crazy if you read the backstory of it.
Huh? Interesting.
I mean, he was literally like made in a test tube to kill.
Whoa. Okay, so the final expansion takes him to Haven Island in the Maldives, where you be a hitman. Okay, so that's about it. For that one, next one is new Game Pass games. So on Game Pass right now, you can play Jump Force for all you anime fans out there, which
It's
I know
good,
there's
man.
a lot of them.
I like it.
I kind of want to play it, honestly.
I bought it on PS4, so I'm kind of upset
You know
that
what?
it's now out.
I
on
don't
here.
have to, because it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, I'm a little upset about it because it's fun.
Next one is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Another really fun game that I bought on Switch. I bought the
Yes.
worst version of it. And now I can play it for free on Xbox. Well, I can play it for Game Pass on Xbox.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Next thing, Lego Worlds. And Lego Worlds is kind of like, isn't that the Minecraft Legos, basically?
I
Which
don't know. I know you can build stuff. in it,
Minecraft
but-
is kind of like a weird Lego simulator in its own way, but more blocky. It's like weird.
Dude, I'm so glad Minecraft's
Think
having a
about it too hard.
resurgence.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. That is definitely brought on by PewDiePie, though. He started playing it again online, and it's just everywhere now.
I never really played it until the resurgence this time around. And
Yeah.
It's fun.
And I gotta say, the guy's got some entertaining lore that's built around it as he's been playing it. All right, another thing they added was Saints Row 4 to Game Pass, which here's my problem with Saints Row games. I actually had some from the Humble Bundle,
Mhm.
and every single Saints Row game that I played on a PC crashed.
Well, you're dumb.
No, I've gone through like 4 different graphics cards and I don't know what it is. Deep Silver, I think, is the company, and it hates the PC. So I am gonna play Saints Row 4 on the Xbox One X.
They are THQ games now.
So maybe they gotten better at coding things.
So Saints Row, the first one was only available on Xbox 360. That's
Yes.
it. And it was a straight up Grand Theft Auto clone.
Mm-hmm.
Saints Row 2, it was kind of more the same thing, but it kind of made a name for itself with being more flashy and almost, I guess, kind of cartoonish. Saints Row 3 is really where they made a name for themselves.
Yeah, I do remember that one. So here's my question for Saints Row. I don't like really playing an antagonist in most games. Are
Yes.
you the bad guy in Saints Row? Like, are you still like a mafia boss or some weird stuff?
Okay, so in Saints Row 4, let me just put it this way. You become the president of the United States.
Oh, snap.
And you function in... I don't want to just ruin it for you.
Okay, well, we'll come back later on another day.
It's amazing though.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to play it. So
Yeah.
is it? Let me ask this: is it a game that I can just play and have fun with in a sandbox?
Dude, you get superpowers.
Oh,
Think
yeah.
Grand Theft Auto, but superpowers without the mods.
Sold. Yeah. Okay. So I still think my favorite sandbox style game was the True Crime series.
What?
Y'all remember the GameCube days, man? You played as a cop.
Dude, I think the last true crime I played, I can't remember which one
I don't
it
even
was.
think they've released them since like.
It was on PS2, and it was
Yeah.
a turd of a game, dude.
I love the True Crime game.
No, you're dumb.
No, they were cool. You go and do calls and have you accidentally run over people in cars, but you're trying your best. It's just the driving controls aren't thinking, but it was cool because you could like straight up fight like a ninja in the streets.
Then you need to play Sleeping Dogs.
I probably do, and I think I have a code for Sleeping Dogs that I haven't even opened.
You need to play that then.
All right, so I'm gonna play it. All right, more Game Pass games on the PC coming out. Bad North, which is an indie RTS, which is on the Switch, and all these other ones. I've been wanting to play it, so I'm doing that. Dirt Rally 2.0. I know Regen E guys will probably be playing that one. And City Skylines come to Game Pass. All right, the next thing, they showed an Outer Worlds trailer. I promised y'all I would not talk about Outer Worlds today.
I mean, I'm sold on it.
But honestly, they showed an old trailer, which we talked about in episode 12, Astrolamer. So if you want to know about what they showed at that one, I break the whole thing down for you on episode 12. Yeah, Outer Worlds is happening first day, and if they had a special edition, I don't care if it's on Game Pass, I would have bought the special edition.
I mean, there might be.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. Okay,
You know, sometimes now they're doing special editions of games that don't come with the game.
Huh.
So you could
I've looked
buy-
around.
You
tried
could
to
buy
find
all that
things.
outside junk and just get the game for free.
Neat. Okay, so probably one of the games I'm more excited for than I expected was Felix the Reaper. It is a fancy-looking comedy/puzzle game where you kill people and dance.
Okay.
So in this one, it's quirky. It's got some interesting style. They're actually the art style is referencing an old concept in medieval art called Dance with Death. It turned into a style of art called Vanitas, and I know I'm getting kind of fluffy out here with the art terms, but if you think of like old school medieval art and you ever see like a skeleton dancing around with people, like dancing around with women or guys, it's usually making the suggestion that like dancing or playing games like card games and stuff is going to lead to your death because it's evil.
What?
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of what that really is. And so they're using this fun little Reaper character, and you got to kill people, but you got to figure out a right way to kill them with puzzles. It looks ridiculous. It looks fun, and I don't know. I was enamored by the art style and them talking about the art history stuff. Next up is Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown. You fly in a plane, you shoot things in a plane.
Didn't they just
You shoot
release an Ace
planes.
Combat?
I don't know. I think maybe.
I could have sworn they just
There's
released
so
one.
many of these Ace Combat games. This is number 7.
Oh, yeah.
It looks decent. I guess there's a story to it. They didn't really talk much about it.
Oh.
Either that or I just wasn't interested in it. Sorry, guys. All right, next up is After Party by Night School. Now, this game was, I think, trying a little too hard to be cool for my taste. Basically, you're two people that just died and are waiting to go to hell. You try to get into Satan's after party and outdrink Satan because that's how you get out of hell, apparently.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's got some pretty... I had to look up the game because it's... I forgot which other games these are, but it's one of those almost walking simulator style games, but you go left and right, and
Okay.
and it's story driven. Review scores are pretty bad. Like, you know, normally like I can deal with like a 6 or a 7 for an indie,
Yeah.
but whenever they're like 3 out of 10,
It's no
I'm
good.
a little concerned.
That is no good.
And there's just like every other word's like hell.
Well, I mean, that's kind of where you are.
Yeah, I got that. It's just like it's not really about the gameplay as much as it is the situation.
That would be like if I yelled Texas every other sentence.
Yeah, Texas. Hey, I like Texas though. All right, next up, Project xCloud beta is ready. They have it started.
xCloud.
xCloud. Right, he's doing an X with his hands. I feel like this is
It's an inside joke.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
not really for me. Like there's this gaming channel I watch called Inside Gaming, and every time they say xCloud, everybody in the room has to do this.
It reminds me like of X-Pac from
Oh yeah,
old
from
days.
wrestling.
From wrestling days.
But it's just funny because it like you'll be watching the show and somebody say xCloud, and then everybody like it's like they don't even realize. They're like, oh.
So xCloud beta is ready. I tried to sign up for it and realized it wasn't working with the browser I was using. So eventually I'll get signed up for it, but you need an Xbox controller to use. It only works with Android. Yeah, that Android Kool-Aid Rowdy.
I bet you could have signed up if you were using Microsoft Edge browser.
Probably.
I mean, it's better than Internet Explorer, but that's not saying much.
Yeah. All right. And something they're adding is that not only can you stream games from the xCloud, you can do it from your Xbox to your mobile phone. So you can do the games that they had available for you and your own stuff. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, though, that was pretty much Inside Xbox. I actually liked Inside Xbox. It is a different flavor than the Nintendo Directs or the State of Plays. It's semi-live. I'm pretty sure it's scripted.
Well, yeah,
and they don't do it live, but there's cheesy jokes. It reminded me of that gaming channel from back in the day, G4 or what was it called? They eventually like combined with somebody.
One of those.
Yeah, it reminded me of something like that though. It's like purposely cheesy jokes. Sometimes they were a little bit much, but it wasn't trying to be too serious. It wasn't trying to be too edgy most of the time.
Okay.
It just, I liked it. I liked it. I didn't have much problem with it. So, you know, I kind of like the format. I definitely think it's better than Sony.
So let me ask you, did you watch Sony's State of Play?
I mean, I've watched a couple of them before.
So
they're just meh.
The State of Plays have been decent up until this newest one. I mean,
what was so boring about it?
I didn't like the way that everything was presented. They just didn't have information that was cool to me. Mm-hmm. The first thing they showed off was this game Humanity, and it is very PlayStation-esque. I mean, it's along the lines of like your Loco Rocos, your Little Big Planet, Katamari Damacy, stuff like that, like a real almost chill type game. But I like to call it Genocide Simulator.
Oh, really now?
Just because I saw so many people like falling off ledges and getting shot by arrows. It's like
Lemmings.
I was just fixing to say that. It's like Lemmings.
But with people.
And it's getting VR support. So it's not a full VR game, but it is VR support. Meh. Just not into this game. Let's see. So the next was the Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and we've already gone over this. And this is actually kind of a big deal, even though I don't care about the Call of Duty games. Mm-hmm. PS4 getting that exclusive. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, especially at the end of this life cycle. I mean,
so I have a question. Spec Ops Survival Mode, right?
I have no idea what it's about.
But is this?
It's some kind of multiplayer
Battle Royale.
No, it's not Battle Royale.
Okay.
But I know
whenever I see survival mode, that's what I'm thinking. It's essentially...
I mean, it's probably like your horde mode type games, stuff like that.
That makes sense.
I mean, I really don't know, but...
Whatever. All right, next up.
Let's see. Medieval. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the Medieval games.
Don't know much about them myself.
Just a little cartoony, funny type thing. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you're a skeleton.
Oh, I do know about it.
3D version with ghouls and ghosts almost.
That's right. It's a extension of the Ghouls and Ghosts universe.
I don't know if this one's a remake or whatnot, but
gotcha.
Meh.
All right.
Let's see. Civilization 6 finally on consoles with all DLC included.
Ooh,
yay! Play as Gandhi and nuke somebody.
Yay!
Arise, A Simple Story. I don't remember anything about it. I just wrote down all the games.
It was very simple, apparently.
Yeah, it's called A Simple Story.
Too simple.
And then let's see. Next, we've got the October PS Plus lineup. You can get The Last of Us Part 1 and MLB The Show 19.
The Show.
I've seen a lot of people freak out about MLB The Show. I mean, I'm not into it, but that's cool. But tell you a funny thing about The Last of Us. At first, I got a little upset that Last of Us was going to be on here because I recently bought Last of Us, but I remember I did some kind of Twitch Prime deal with Amazon, and I basically got a physical copy of The Last of Us for free.
Ah,
The Last of Us
nice.
remastered
Ooh,
for free.
for free.
I mean, that's cool, I guess.
Yeah, next.
There's also there's the Death Stranding PS4 Pro. It's white. It's got 2 black handprints on it, and a controller that looks like that creepy Bridge Baby. Well, the container.
Not it, whenever you're saying it looks like it, it's not like the Dragon Quest controller that's like a slime. It's not that different, is it?
I showed
Like
I
where
showed
you're
my
just
wife
holding
that
a
last
baby.
night. Oh man. So I mean, there's that. Then they had a lot of VR games they showed on here. Let's see here. Gorn. Gorn's actually really fun. You play. It's like a Roman arena simulator.
Oh, that does sound
You
fun.
pick like a mace or a sword, and it's funny because it's like kind of real cartoony, but then super gory as well.
Yeah,
You could beat somebody with somebody else.
that's intense.
So let's see. We also got Aspire 1 VR operative after the line or after the fall. Don't know anything
After
about
the
either
Fall,
of those.
I think was an indie game I've seen somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. We got LA Noir, the VR case files.
Is
I
it
mean,
just LA Noir or is it?
it's something new. Apparently, it's just like from what they showed, it was basically just interrogations.
Okay, because I remember watching something on LA Noir a long time ago, and they cap it at 24 frames per second, which is movie like quality. It's basically what you'd see in theaters, 24 frames per second.
Yeah.
And to me, that I was like, LA Noir sounds like a terrible idea because 24 frames a second on VR would probably make you sick.
Awful.
Get back to that simulator sickness again.
And then the last thing they really announced for it was Space Channel 5, Kinda Funky News Flash.
Sure. Oh, that's the name of it? I
Yeah.
thought you were just explaining it.
Nope, that's the name. It's a
Interesting.
VR version of it, like an old, I think it was Sega Dreamcast, maybe.
Hmm.
That was put out Space Channel 5. I want to say they were rhythm-based games. It doesn't matter.
Okay, whatever.
And we now have a release date for The Last of Us 2.
Bum bum bum.
February 21st, 2020. So February, I want to say
a lot of twos.
Cyberpunk is coming out in February next year as well.
So February is going to be nuts.
February is going to be like September of this year.
Yeah, because this year, my wallet's going to still be crying.
Dude, I got at least a game per week during September.
Not me.
I am broke. broke.
All right. Well, I guess that gets us to the end of the real news. Time for fake news.
Fake news.
All right, guys, it is time to jump into our rumor section. Fake news. And so in this one, I can't believe I got the voice right. So this is essentially just going to be a compilation of rumors. We do this every episode and go over rumors because that's most of gaming journalism and most of it doesn't come to fruition. So first up, this has actually happened. Nintendo has filed a new FCC model number for a new model of the Switch Lite, but nobody knows what it's for. What do you think it's for?
Okay, so since this is the rumor section, I personally think the Nintendo Switch Lite, it's not going to be a good console. It's going to break. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
people have already got Joy-Con drift 2 days into it, and now there's rumors of them just straight up bricking.
Ooh.
So it's not a good
So
console.
you think it's like a revision on the sticks, or?
I don't know if it's going to be a revision on the sticks or the whole console itself, but when you file for a new FCC model number, you have to change stuff in it.
Yeah, so that's really quick. So something's wrong.
Yes, something is wrong. And if it's a new model of the Nintendo Switch Lite, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people who actually bought the Switch Lite.
And, you know, this has been a thing with Nintendo lately. I almost feel like their old school hardware game is going down a little bit with the Switch. There's so many issues right now that, you know, the Reddit army is after them right now with the Joy-Con stick issues. This could be bad for Nintendo. Hopefully, I think we're going to start seeing some lawsuits coming out this way.
Well, BT Dubs, there is a class action lawsuit for Joy-Con drift.
Yeah, and that's whenever they
But-
forced Nintendo basically just started saying, "Oh, we'll fix them. Yeah, don't sue us."
Let me just tell you, the class action lawsuits against these companies are absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, they don't help us.
I
so
did not.
much.
I was part of the PlayStation Network when they had the big DDoS attack on PS3 that knocked out PlayStation Network for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And there was a class action lawsuit for it. I didn't get into it. You're going to get $5 maybe.
Maybe.
But I did get some free games out of it. That was cool.
That was cool. Yeah, I mean, they got to make us happy as, consumers.
Well, there was also a class action lawsuit against PS3 because they talked about how you could install Linux as the operating system on the PS3 when it came out. And that was a big selling point for some people. Well, they took that out later. Like
people love them some Linux.
It's weird, man.
I mean, I've used a little bit of Linux. It's not something that I would use for a main thing. It's cool, I guess. My brother's all into Linux. He's a Linux certified nerd. But I'm a nerd too, so I can't say much.
New FCC filing, it's probably crap, man. These Nintendo Switch Lites, there's gonna be some unhappy people.
Yeah. All right. So there's really not a lot of Nintendo rumors flying around at the moment. I mean, there's so much coming out, they don't need rumors. And a lot of times when you have rumors, it's either something bad is going on or they're trying to get people to talk about stuff. And the rest of the rumors are all bad news.
This is pretty much all going to be PlayStation as well.
Yep.
So thing is, PlayStation is now down with crossplay. Now, they haven't really announced it. They've kind of like put out a news story here and there, but Sony really loves their press releases. I mean, when they get ready, I mean, it all comes out. I mean, within a snap, like Thanos. I mean, you see it everywhere. Twitter, all the news sites, everything. So why are they not talking about this crossplay? Probably because they're waiting for Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. So that comes out, boom, crossplay is now available for everything.
So I'm really hoping they do crossplay for Monster Hunter World. I don't know if they will because I know a lot of people that play PlayStation 4 version and I have the Xbone version. So I'm hoping that happens. Now, I guess before we get into the Layden issue, we need to talk about there's a new code name for PS5. What is it, Rowdy?
Oh, crap. I wrote it down. Prospero. So, yeah. So last night I actually saw this and had to add it in, like, in the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah, we kind of text each other. It's like, dude, fake news.
So, yeah, the new PS5 is codenamed Prospero, which sounds dumb, which would probably just be PS5.
I think he's like a friend of Zorro.
Yeah. But supposedly now, both Sony and Microsoft are rumored to include camera hardware to focus on streaming. So everybody's really buying into Twitch and Mixer and YouTube and everything like that.
That's going to get tricky because if you have this big, bulky monster console in front of you, and if we go by the PlayStation 5 rumors that we talked about in the past, where it looks like a big, ugly thing.
Oh, and the news story I saw showed that big, ugly thing again.
Oh, man.
Just
so
a
it's
more...
got uglier?
Oh, dude, it's just a more dolled up version now.
Oh,
it's awful looking.
So then you got to start worrying about where do you put these things in your house.
Hide them.
But you can't hide them because you got to have access to the camera. So that's where it's going to start getting tricky because if it's built into the housing of the unit, you now have to have this thing like centered in front of you somewhere if you think about it.
Do you think it'll be something kind of like...
Or do you think it's going to be like a USB dongle?
Maybe. Because everybody's already done that.
Yeah.
Because, like, I've had the, the PS4 camera because PS4 did some AR games that were pretty awesome that you use the camera for.
So there is that rumor coming around, too. I don't know if we had it written down, but I did see that there's rumor that the Kinect is coming back to the next Xbox.
Oh.
Maybe that's part of this rumor situation going on because you got to think about it. The Kinect would make sense if you're a streamer. Yeah. And the Kinect has a lot of high-level stuff going on with it. If it could automatically focus on you, because it has that body scanning technology. Like if you look into the Kinect technology, it's a little scary actually. It can see your bone structure. It can see all sorts of crazy stuff.
But you can't control a damn game with it.
Whatever. So, the thing is, if it can actually determine where the actual human is and then knock out the background for you and just put your game in the background, and then you have Mixer,
Mhm.
that they're pushing in, and the Xbox One X has excellent streaming capabilities. That's a pretty scary card to play right there. I think they're dropping the gauntlet down at this next generation with that alone. And you got to think every streamer, every podcaster, we're just free advertising.
Yeah, I'd be a little upset if I made a living off of streaming and this started happening now.
Yeah, because then you got all your fancy equipment.
It's going to be all saturated.
It
and
worked well for
everything.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's true.
it would be great. I don't have to pay anything other than a new
Oh,
console
man.
for $12 million. I mean, 700 or 600 or 500, whatever.
What else do we have here? Okay, this is actually a kind of a cool rumor. Maybe it could
Cool
be
ones.
good.
Ooh, not all this
so-
depressing stuff.
I have talked about in the past that there's a rumor that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be a PlayStation 5 timed exclusive. And that could be that GTA 6 would be a system seller if it was an exclusive for say 3 months, something like that. So old rumor, but there's more fuel on the fire now
Ooh.
because GTA 5 is part of PlayStation Now.
Bum, bum, bum.
GTA 5 has not been on a subscription service until now. Granted, it's only
Until PlayStation Now.
Ba-dum.
Oh, gosh, that was terrible.
so until January 2nd, you could play Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS4. So that, to me, adds more speculation that GTA 6 could be a time exclusive on Sony.
Fancy.
So that's kind of cool.
All right, well, I guess it's time to get to the depressing news.
All right. So
Who's leaving? There's people leaving Sony.
So Sean Layden, president and CEO of SIE, Sony Interactive Entertainment, has quote unquote stepped down.
Bum, bum, bum.
So this is real weird because I don't know if you follow PlayStation that much, but Sean Layden has
really.
basically been the face of PlayStation.
Mhm.
If you have any like E3, he was always up there. A lot of press releases. He was just the face of everything.
It's like if Iwata
Um,
stepped down, or Reggie, which just happened recently.
Yeah, I mean, he's not Reggie status, but he's basically their
True.
Reggie.
Reggie's just too good.
Now, and the fact that he is stepped down is really weird because, like I mentioned earlier, PlayStation loves their press releases. And this was confirmed with a tweet from PlayStation 4 or from Sony in America. And then the Japanese tweet was weirdly translated, I guess you could say, because they used basically the translation for retirement.
But is he really retiring?
Nobody knows.
I hear there's rumors.
Because Sean Layden has not changed anything on his Twitter yet.
Ooh.
So if you go into your job and you say you're putting in a 2 weeks notice, and then they ask you why you're putting in your 2 week notice, and you say, oh, well, I'm going to such and such company, and that happens to be a competitor, what is your company going to do?
Usually make you sign a contract that you're not supposed to in the first place, but they're not going to be happy about it.
And they're going to fire you on the spot.
Bing, bing, bing.
So
Flames.
there is a rumor. Now, granted, the same thing happened when Reggie left Nintendo, that supposedly Reggie was going to Google. So the same thing is happening here with Sean Layden. But the fact that he has stepped down, and that's all we've heard is from one tweet, add some fuel to the fire.
And honestly, it might be basically damage control at this point to not talk about it.
Yeah.
Because if you look into the history of Sony lately, and I kind of alluded to this a couple episodes, Sony, while it's on top of the world for consoles, it is end of life, which is a very dangerous time for consoles. Also, a lot of their other ways they make money are not making a whole lot of money if you compare it to the operating income.
Yes.
If you look at their movies, they're making just a sliver. If you look at their phones that they used to make, I don't think they're making them anymore. I think they actually gutted those a while back. If you look at their TVs, there's not a whole lot that they're really making off of those. So they've been trying to streamline and figure out ways to make more off their hardware. Well, PlayStation 4 is where it's at, but PlayStation 4s aren't really going to sell as well anymore, and so they're going to start losing quite a bit of profit coming up. Well, you have this guy walk out. Your investors probably aren't real happy about that, so it's probably a good idea to keep quiet and tell him, hey, Don't put this on Twitter yet, please.
But here's another thing. So Sean Layden steps down, but all of a sudden, now we have crossplay everywhere.
Right.
Now we have...
So was he the wall keeping that from happening?
Exactly. So the crossplay, and they're now pushing PS Now. Was he what was keeping PlayStation from trying to step into the new streaming world?
Mm-hmm.
The world where you play nice with everybody? Because I don't know if you remember, but not that long ago, Microsoft and Sony signed an agreement to share a lot of their AI server technologies. What is it? Azure, Microsoft's Azure AI. They signed an agreement to share a lot of that stuff. Basically, it's looking like they're scared of Google right now, which is it's pretty scary. It scares me. I don't want Google to be the winner.
Yeah.
Of this upcoming console generation.
Me either. And the thing is, though, I mean, you look at the place Sony and Nintendo are in. They don't have a lot of these worldwide infrastructures on servers.
Mm-hmm.
And Sony is kind of at the will of their competitor to keep afloat. And now their competitor is also Google, who is trying to get in the gaming industry.
Yes.
So they're probably going to have to look. I mean, they signed a deal with Microsoft, but honestly, Amazon would probably be smarter because they're not directly competing.
True.
In my mind, that would make sense. But, who knows what they're thinking at Sony nowadays, because they've actually put out about 3 or 4 of these restructuring plans in the last 5 years because they are hemorrhaging money in weird places. In fact, there has been some weird talk about possibly Disney. This is a weird one. I don't know the validity of this, but I think we were talking about Disney taking over part of Sony movies.
So I've actually heard this mentioned quite a few times. Again, nothing to back this up.
By the way, this is all fake news and speculation.
Yes, I really want to point that out. There is nothing to back this up. But you also have to think about how if Disney wants something, what do? They buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Disney makes so much money off of merchandising. So you have your Disneyland, Disney World, then all the merchandising, which they now have Star Wars, Marvel, all that stuff. So Spider-Man, the whole Spider-Man universe, Spider-Man, Venom, everything like that. It's all owned by Sony. And I know this isn't video games, but this is going to lead back to it. So Disney only for the Spider-Man movies got 1% of first day gross sales and merchandising of Spider-Man. So when Spider-Man left the MCU, it was because Disney wanted 50%, and they didn't want to put up as much money for the Spider-Man movie. Now, that's a lot of money, and you don't want to put up as much money.
And here's the thing, too. I mean, Sony said no to that deal, but they just changed their mind recently.
So it's not the same deal.
Oh.
It's brought down to 25% now.
Still a huge chunk.
And Disney still has to front 25% of the production cost.
Huh. So
that's the new deal.
And I feel like Sony's backed up against the wall, and they're like I said, hemorrhaging money. They don't have a lot of choice in these things. I still think though that's compared to what they had. I guess there wasn't much way around paying Disney that much money if you wanted to make that money.
That's true.
MCU is pretty darn popular for these.
And it really is. So the thing is, I heard these rumors before the new contract came out.
Mm-hmm.
So had Sony played hard to get with Spider-Man, I know you probably haven't seen the newest Spider-Man, but there is no way they could have made another Spider-Man movie outside of the MCU.
Oh yeah,
after that movie.
I completely agree with you there. So,
I believe that Disney could have tried to buy out Sony just to get Spider-Man. And in that, buying PlayStation. Because Disney now has a video game division. Now, I know that they've made like video games in the past and stuff like that. But this is a division strictly about video games. There was higher up at PlayStation's PR department. I forget exactly what he was. A guy named John Drake. He left his cushy job at Sony for PlayStation to join to be basically the head honcho of Disney's video game division in the US. So if Disney is moving into video games with their own division, I don't know, man. Again, fake news, totally rumors, totally our speculation. We're just throwing gas on this fire, but does it seem that far-fetched?
Not really. And here's the thing, too. I mean, everybody's throwing gas on this speculation fire, and it's a bad time for speculation because we're right before a big console launch. We have massive restructuring on a global level with Sony.
Yep.
Investors are getting spooked. You know, what could happen, and it's happened before. We saw a couple generations ago with Nintendo. The Nintendo Wii was at the top of the world. It had the most systems sold in that generation. Before, I think later on, eventually PlayStation sold a bit more.
I think PlayStation 2 is at the top. Wii is not far behind them.
Yeah.
And PS4 is either catching up to Wii or about to pass it. But that's a lot. It's a lot of consoles.
But the next system, the Nintendo botched. I mean, the Wii U was a combination of the technology wasn't up to par yet, and you didn't have a big enough difference in the name.
Yep.
And if they would have numbered it, it probably would have helped. But a lot of people thought it was a peripheral. I don't think we're going to have that exact problem. But we had some major... We had some people thinking too old style, I guess, in Nintendo. And they should have been restructuring a lot of things. Now, I know we're saying, well, PlayStation's restructuring. But there's a difference whenever you're open about restructuring and then you're closing off what you're doing behind the scenes. Whenever there's people leaving, there's something going on there.
Yeah, so there's a lot of restructuring going on. Like Microsoft's restructuring has been very positive recently.
And they let you know what they're doing.
Going towards streaming, and their numbers now that they're putting out are the consecutive streams per month, not console sold. So they're making money. Like for every number of that month, they're still making money on it.
Absolutely, and that's been a thing too. I think why we're seeing Sony right now punching back with PlayStation Now, which they need to do. Because they're dead systems. Both of them are. They need people to have the name of PlayStation, the name of Xbox in their head while they're about to come with this new generation. Because if they're putting it down, they're going to PC. Some of them are. A lot of people are going to Switch. The Switch is what's in everybody's head at the moment.
I forgot. PS Now, some of the games you can play on PC.
Whoa.
I forgot that.
Weird.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I think... it's going to be interesting. They're starting to take off the gloves and really get at it. So fake news is interesting right now. Look around and see what's happening. I think that's pretty much it for today. You got anything else?
Let's see here. Do I have anything else? I guess I know we seem very negative here about a lot of this stuff. I don't want to seem super negative.
Everything's horrible, Rowdy.
I mean, I am looking at a lot of stuff with 4K rose-colored glasses. But then
glasses are nice, though. I
also look back and like PlayStation 2 sold super well, but the PlayStation 3 launch was awful. And my Xbox 360 red ringed.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. We're worn down with all these bad launches because I know you've had a lot of bad things whenever you bought day one. The Switch has had hardware issues.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited about the next generation. I'm a bit concerned about quality issues.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing them everywhere. I'm a bit concerned about the change in infrastructures going on with streaming. And just generally, I don't know if people are going to see a huge leap in what's going on other than the streaming capabilities. Because the graphics right now that you can put out on the X, while I'm particularly excited about the way they look, my wife looks at games compared to the regular Xbox One S versus the X, and she doesn't necessarily notice the difference as much as I am, but I'm very in tune with what's going on the screen. I just don't see that big graphical clarity jump this next generation. I know everybody's like, oh, look at the God rays and ray tracing and all this other stuff. I think the big thing is streaming, and I hate that.
Ray tracing can be done without 4K though, right?
Yeah, ray tracing is not
Okay.
necessarily put into that, and it's just extremely intensive on your graphical GPU.
Yeah.
There's just so many calculations because not only do you have to determine the amount of light, the direction of the light as it's bouncing off, all the geometrical junk that goes in there with how it degrades as it gets further away. It's pretty technical, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like thousands, if not millions, of calculations going on simultaneously just for light.
So I guess the closing words. Although
We seem really depressed.
we seem negative about this, we're still really excited.
Yeah, we started out like, oh, look at all these cool things, and now we're just like,
It's
oh man,
just-
these rumors are bad.
We're old and we've seen a lot so far.
Yeah, getting old kids.
So on
All
that
right.
note, pick your system, well, or not. Play them all.
Fanboy wars are coming up, guys. Get ready.
Yeah, there's gonna be more fanboy.
Get ready
wars.
for the console wars. It's
Oh,
it's
man.
gonna everybody's gonna hate each other, but it's gonna be so much fun again.
And I'm gonna keep drinking that Sony Kool-Aid.
I'm gonna drink that Nintendo Kool-Aid, and I'm starting to. I think we've been sharing the Game Pass Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
All right, that's all I got for today. What about you?
That's it, man. You
All
guys
right.
have a good one.
Adios.